It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's the Jill on Money show. Hope you're having a good beginning to your weekend. I know that Mark and I are, and we are always delighted to join you. And we so appreciate you taking the time to listen with us, whether you're listening to an actual terrestrial radio station or catching us on YouTube. We are really grateful, always. If you've got a financial question, we encourage you to hop on over to the website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. That's where you can send us your questions. Now, at the end of the form, all you need to do is to click, I want to appear with you on the air, and Mark will do the rest. It's so easy to do, and we really would appreciate that. And because we think it's a much more fun experience for everyone, you included, if we can talk to you really in the moment and ask those follow-up questions. Today, we are starting the program talking to Christina in Florida. We're talking about military folks who are trying to think about their own retirement. Hi, Christina. How can we help you out?
Hi, good morning, Jill and Mark. Thank you so much for taking my call. My husband and I are avid fan of your show, mostly me, and he's a fan through my conversations with him. And so just a quick, introduction. My husband and I are both active duty military, currently serving the United States Air Force. We are both 43 years old. I actually turn 44 tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. We have a 14-year-old daughter who's a freshman in high school. My husband and I have been serving the Air Force for about a little over 20 years. I plan to serve for a total of 30 years. I'm currently at 23 years, so 7 more years to go. My husband intends to serve for 27 years. He's currently at 24 years of service right now. A Lieutenant Colonel, 05 in the Air Force, and my husband is a Chief Master Sergeant. He's an E9.
Okay, wait a second. What do these words mean? Hold on a second. Lieutenant Colonel.
Yes,
what
ma'am.
Does that mean? Like, are you a badass? Are you like someone's boss? What? Explain. I'm a total idiot. Help me out here. Tell me what these rankings mean.
Yes, so a Lieutenant Colonel is an officer in the Air Force. We have different tiers, so I'm a field grade officer. So this is a rank where you're right, kind of a badass because you are. I am, leading squadrons, groups, and then my husband is also in some way a badass because that is actually the top rank on the enlisted side. So he's a Chief Master Sergeant, so that's the top rank for enlisted.
What brings you to us? Like, what do you need to know about?
Okay, so the reason I called is I've been kind of the person in our family and our marriage responsible for finances and doing our retirement planning. And so we're at this point in our life where we're really disciplined and we're working on our wealth building and accumulation phase. As I mentioned, I plan to do 30 years in the Air Force. So I'll be about 50-ish when I retire. And I don't have plan of at least not right now, seeking a job post-military. I do have, people in my network who are reaching out in case I change my mind and want to do some part-time or full-time consultant work. My husband plans to pursue his Christian marriage and family counseling practice full-time when he takes off the uniform. Mm-hmm. It's a passion of his, and I'm fully supportive of him doing that. So it'll bring in some income, but it's not going to be a lot.
But so that's 3 years from now, you said, right?
Yes.
He's going to work 3 more years. You're going to work 7 more years.
Yes.
So 2 questions. How much do you earn right now, you Christina?
So for myself, I did my math and I am making $161,000.
Okay. And he's making how much?
He is at 124.
Okay. So that's a good living between the two of you, right?
It is. And, honestly, part of that, and which maybe some civilian may not understand, is part of our income are actually non-taxable, like our housing allowance and our food allowance is non-taxable. So like out of the 161 I make, 36,000 of that is non-taxable. And out of the 124 he makes, 31,000 of that is non-taxable. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you live in military housing or do you own your own dwelling?
Actually, we own. We have a house that as our primary residence. It's currently worth $360K last time I checked. We owe about $270. It's just a house we bought like last year.
Oh,
And
great.
then we also have two rentals that we own. One has it's worth $305,000 and more outstanding mortgage of $120,
Mm-hmm.
and the other property is worth about $255, and we owe about $130 for that property.
And those are probably cash flowing pretty well. So between the two of them, what's the real cash flow? Not necessarily what you're putting on your tax returns, but what are you collecting on either a monthly or annual basis?
Actually, we're doing pretty well on those two properties. So together, I'm getting about $1,200.
Okay, fantastic. So talk about the way that you guys structure your retirement planning. So when you retire at age 50, what will your pension look like?
Yes, so we have this calculator that we can use to take a look at our projected pension, and so for mine, when I retire and I'm looking at 2028, I'll actually get 75% of my base pay for doing 30 years. So according to the calculation, it's about 132,000
Mm-hmm.
a year. So it's 11 grand a month.
Yep.
That's before taxes.
Right.
For my husband, when he retires in 2025, he'll receive almost $67,000 for the year. So about $55.80 a month.
If you look at what your needs are, and I don't need you to don't include college because we'll deal with that separately. But what do you guys really need to live on, do you think?
So to live comfortably, like traveling and stuff like that, I actually calculated for 10 grand a month with today's dollars.
Okay. When you're in the military, are you also eligible for Social Security?
Yes.
Okay. So first things first, let's pretend in 3 years he's done, and let's pretend he makes no money. Can you live on your $161,000 salary plus the money you receive from the rental? Can you guys that seems like you should be able to do 10 grand a month. Have you run those numbers? Do you feel like pretty close on that?
Yes. In fact, it's been, I've been convincing him, hey, you can retire now,
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. So your salary plus the rental, you can float it, which is great. Okay.
Yes.
Whatever. He's going to make his decision, but you can float that. That's great. At age 50, you retire. You have health benefits for life, don't you?
Yes. We have this TRICARE Select, which is about I think $400, $500 a year for the premium.
Good. We'll get back to Christina's question in just a second. Hey, during the break, go to JillOnMoney.com, bookmark it, and sign up for the free weekly newsletter. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And there's so many things in your financial life that you really can't control. You cannot control that inflation remains high. But you can control maybe figuring out how to squeeze more money out of your boss. If you're feeling sheepish or you want to start comparing job offers, we'd love to help you out. We're getting a lot of career questions from people. So if you're thinking about this, you want to run a scenario by us, why don't you give us a holler? Just go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Recently on one of our podcasts at the Jill on Money Show, which is, we've got two podcasts, Jill on Money and I on Money, Mark and I did a really fun role playing where we tried to figure out, how to ask somebody for money. And it's tough. We know it. We know it's hard to do. So we'd love to help you out and help you decide whether staying put is the better option for you, or maybe a new choice for a career. Whatever it is, maybe it's a new endeavor, maybe it's the next endeavor, maybe you're really ready to call it quits. Give us a holler. Again, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Now, when you do that, there's a little box at the bottom which says, hey, do you want to come on the show with us? And we really encourage you to do that, because by doing so, you can join us from the Capital One Bank virtual studios. Capital One, this is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? And when you do that, also, we can ask lots of follow-up questions and kind of read you a little bit. Sometimes it's tough from just your written word, what's going on. When I hear your voice and describe your situation, it becomes a little bit more interesting. And sometimes we discover things when we're on the air with you. So let's get back to our conversation with Christina from Florida as she looks ahead to her retirement. What about for your kid, the 14-year-old? Now, what happens for college there?
So we actually have a post 9/11 GI Bill reserved for her. So it was my GI Bill benefits that I ended up not needing because I went to school while I was on active duty. So we have about almost 3 years of tuition that's going to be covered. And the really nice thing about post 9/11 GI Bill is that they also provide 2 semesters book stipend and also a monthly housing allowance for my daughter. And then we also have about $67,000 of 529 for her, which I stopped contributing because I figured
you're not going to need it.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe she'll go to grad school, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what about other money that you have saved? Like, what's in your emergency reserve fund?
So we have about $75K for emergency fund. As far as retirement, the Air Force, or really the Department of Defense, provides us with TSP, which is like a 401k, and we're maxing out our annual contribution for that. We currently together we have about $530,000 for the TSP. We're also maxing out our Roth IRA, and together we have about $280,000.
Oh my God, I want to marry you. How do you feel about a polyamorous relationship with a lesbian?
No.
Mark, do you want in on this or not? You want in?
I'm really jealous. I'm really selfish.
I can't manage that. You're in fantastic shape. I can't say that enough. You've done an amazing job of saving. Is the question that you want to understand about, like, are you okay? Like, you are okay in spades. You're in fantastic shape. You really are.
Yeah, I'm like a nervous wreck. I feel like I hear that a lot on your show. Like, I think people have millions of dollars and like, I don't know if I'm okay. But I'm looking at it. I'm like, I want to have that flexibility, once I take off the uniform, maybe travel for the next 6 months, and then like, okay, maybe I'll do some consultant work part-time.
Maybe you will. Maybe you go kick someone's ass somewhere else in the private sector. The thing is that's interesting. I was interviewing someone for my book, who is a psychologist. She's actually an old high school friend of mine, because I'm writing this other book. My question to her was, psychologically, often I will talk to people and I will show them numbers and hear their stories and be like, you're fine. What's up? And she said, sometimes people, it doesn't really matter, that there is something else that is going on sort of behind the scenes in their heads. And so, like you said, you're a nervous wreck. And when I hear that, I wonder, well, okay, what's the fear? What is the fear here? That like, I'm going to retire and I'm 50. And is the fear that like, I don't know what to do with myself? Or is the fear more like, what if something bad happens? Like, what is it that we can work through with you?
I think for me, it's more, just having a second opinion. And, of course, this is probably not the place to, have the psychological part of it. But like growing up and seeing my parents like struggle over the years and, in some ways they're
Hmm.
still a little bit struggling, right? Where I'm having to help out every once in a while. I think
Mm.
it's that, right? And just making sure that my husband and I are both okay. My daughter's okay. It's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, let's think about like all the different things that are going on here that are positives. Okay. So, number one, you're going to have income that will cover your needs, basically, right? Because between the two of you, you will have $200,000 a year in pre tax pension. Okay. So, you just told me even if you tax the heck out of it and listen, you're living in a low tax environment in Florida, right? So even if at 200,000 you pay your taxes that are due, even if tax rates rise, you are going to net beyond the need of $10,000 a month. So that's just in your pensions. Does not include social security, right? What else could happen that would be bad? I guess that what like bad could be like, like I don't make it to age 50. I won't get as much. Even then, because you have money saved in your thrift savings plan, because you have money saved in your Roth, you're in really good shape. And you have money that is in the 529 that could cover, if the military's covering 3 years of tuition and a couple semesters or of books and expenses and living expenses, like you have more than enough money. I don't see a scenario where something really bad happens. Maybe you say to me, well, I hate these rental properties. I'm so annoyed. I don't want to take care of them anymore. You can sell them. You got plenty of equity. You can just add that to the pile. So I don't even see a situation where and I am very much into plan B. I really am. Like, what could go wrong? So maybe I would have been good in the military, except for my very major lack of respect for authority. But besides that, I think it would have been great. But I think that if you look at your downside, I don't see the downside. Mark, is there some downside scenario that I have not contemplated? I don't think so either. I think that you are in really good shape, really good shape. Yeah. And Mark says you deserve 100% to be in this place because of everything you've given.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Honestly, that's part of the reason why I, wasn't really pursuing a post-military career. It's just I've spent a lot of time deployed, more than my husband actually, and so I want to be home. I want to be more available for my daughter, who, okay, she'll be in college at the time. Maybe she wouldn't want to spend more time with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I understand that. Just wait, right? But actually, I think once they get to college, it does get a little bit better. The whole like teenage girl thing is a little flummoxing in the universe. But I noticed that with my sister's daughters, they seem to have come back around quite significantly as they, round the corner of 21. So I think your timing is perfect. Through the military, I know they make you do your estate planning, but have you done any updates to that?
Yes, we actually we have existing wills and POAs, or power of attorneys, and we're actually have an appointment to make a few tweaks at the end of the month.
Okay, great. I mean, look, even if you had to keep throwing your family some money on the side, you got plenty of money to do it. I think you're in great shape. If you have a retirement question, a tax question, a college planning question, a career question, whatever it is, we'd love to help you out. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the contact button, and we'll get your note. Don't forget, while you're there, sign up for the 2 podcasts, Jill on Money and I on Money. Okay, we will be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And as you are noodling around in your day, sometimes just kind of spacing out a little bit, you might return to some question that's been on your mind for a while. And it's not necessarily the active question. It may not be, oh, where should my portfolio be? Maybe it's a different kind of question like, hey, is this life insurance policy still necessary? Or am I paying an advisor for something that I don't need? Or maybe I'm a really lousy money manager and maybe I should be actually outsourcing this to another person or organization. Whatever it is, we'd love to help you out. That's what we do here at the Jill on Money Show. We really want to focus on you and your needs and what's going on. So always send us a note. Just go to jillonmoney.com and you can click on the Contact Us button and we will get that question. So I guess this is the hour of questions from Florida. Right now, we're going to talk to John, also from Florida. And John was complaining to us that it was too cold. It was like 60. And so, you know, after Mark and I have been contending with wind chills of minus something or other, we don't have a lot of compassion, John. So welcome to the program and enjoy 60 because 80 is just around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, actually, we have another cold front coming up in the next couple of days. So maybe
do people get grouchy there when it's 60?
I think people get happy. I've seen people like wearing their like winter jackets and their boots and things like that. So I think people see it as a treat.
That's great. All right. What brings you to our airwaves today? What can we do for you, sir?
Yeah. So I've been listening for a while and I just kind of have some questions about a new position that my wife has been offered. Mm-hmm. So it's with the local county government. And they have two choices for retirement. So the first choice, and it's sort of their standard choice, is to go with a pension with the Florida retirement system. And the second choice is to have a 401k that has a 11% contribution. So like both of those sound pretty good to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like normally the pension sounds like a sort of something that's very difficult to get and something that you want, but 11% also sounds really good. So I'm kind of don't know. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I mean, normally I love the whole pension because I love the guarantee and the employer is on the hook. However, I presume that this pension has some rules about how long you have to be there, right? Give me the outline of what the pension is as you understand it.
Yeah, so as I understand, you have to be there for at least 8 years to be vested. For every year before like normal retirement age, which I think they consider to be 62, if you take it earlier than that, you take like a percentage cut of like, I think it's 5% for every year. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the amount you get is based on a formula, you know, on your whatever you earn. And I think it's like 1.6% times the amount of years times whatever you earn. So.
Okay. So pretty standard, but the big thing is you've got to get to 8 years as number one. And then the next big hurdle is you got to stay in that system long enough for it to make sense, right? So, you know, it's usually going to be, once you get to that 8, it's probably another 12 years before you start getting like the good juicy part of this, right?
Yeah.
Has your wife ever worked in a county position or in a municipal position before?
No, she's actually kind of new to the workforce. She's only been working professionally for about a year.
How old is she?
She's 31.
And how old are you?
I'm 33.
What do you do? Are you employed?
Yeah. I'm an engineer.
How much do you make?
Make about 108.
108?
Yeah.
You guys have kids?
We have 1 2-year-old. So
she's been at home doing the kid thing, and you've been living okay on the 108,000 for the family?
Yeah, we do well. So for the past year, she's been working. It's gotten a lot better, even though she doesn't make a lot because she's kind of a social worker. But, you know, like that little like 40 grand a year definitely helps.
Yeah, I bet. This job, what would the pay be?
So it's $21 an hour, which I think is around $42K a year.
Do you think, I mean, you know your wife. Do you think she's the type who could stick with one place for a while? Because there is a great argument for staying in the system. But on the other hand, look, she's got this job. She can still make money. If she's the type of person who likes to move around a little bit, then I would be inclined to do the 401k, because I don't want her to feel trapped in a place like she's just going to start this job. Like, oh, I hate this place. I don't want to do this. Right. And the 401k, you could roll it over to whatever the next job is. Right. So there's an amount of flexibility that is afforded with choosing the 401k option. But I bet if we were to run the numbers, okay, and we were to say, what happens for John and his wife if she stays at that job for 20 years, which would be better? I bet it's going to be the pension, not the 401k. So you have to kind of tell me what you think, a little bit like, what's your wife like? For example, like, she's a social worker. Maybe she would like to actually open her own practice someday. So tell me a little bit more about her. Like, what do you think is like her career trajectory?
I think she has maybe ambitions of going to law school eventually.
Whoa.
If she were to take the pension option, we wouldn't want to have that sort of to consider, like losing that.
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing. And I mean, she's been working for a year and she's already found a new job. So, you know, she doesn't have a good track record.
Wait a minute. Don't say don't have a good track record. Let's use different words. Let's say, you know, she likes change.
Yeah. And also, like, they don't pay her very well. So hopefully in the future, if she found something that could pay what
right. I mean, but so here's the other thing. I don't know what kind of social work she does, but, you know, sometimes people like to stay in a municipal system, right? So you might say like, oh, I've got a county job, it's this. But actually, if I were to go work in a school system, I would be able to use that pension also and go to the next thing. We'll get back to John in just a minute. During the break, go to JillOnMoney.com and just bookmark it. That's all I ask. Bookmark it. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are so happy that you're spending some time with us. If you miss any of this show, or maybe you want to check out older shows or previous broadcasts or other programs that we're doing, or just all of our general stuff, just go to the website, JillOnMoney.com. And while you're there, you'll see there's a podcast section, a blog section, a radio section, video section. You can buy my book there. Check out the resources section. And importantly, please sign up for our free weekly newsletter, which comes out every single Friday. Okay, so let's now finish up our conversation with John from Florida. Remember, if you want to come on the air with us, all you need to do is just, while you're on the website, click the Contact Us button and we'll get your note. Generally speaking, when I'm given these choices, as I said, usually the pension mathematically is the better option. But I think because she's early in her career, she doesn't know whether she's really going to stick around. It's not going to be huge money, especially right this second. I think I'm leaning towards a 401k. What do you have for retirement for your $108,000 earnings? Do you have a 401k?
Yeah. I have a 401k that I contribute 6%, which is up to the employer match. And right now the balance is about 80K.
Great.
And it's one of those like target date funds.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And do you do anything besides the 6% contribution in terms of your own retirement? Do you do a Roth?
No, I don't. I was kind of hoping to start, contributing to those, making those accounts and contributing to them. My plan is to, once my kid grows out of daycare, sort of redirect that money to retirement.
That daycare.
Yeah.
Damn it. It is so how much do you pay for daycare in Florida?
We actually just got the the yearly tax document that they send out, and last year it was about $14,500.
All right, so But right now on the 108 plus your wife's 40, you're living okay, right? You're doing fine, right?
Yeah.
And so now I want to know a little bit more, some other stuff about your financial life. For example, do you guys have an emergency reserve fund?
Yeah, we have about 25,000.
Great.
It was just maybe like 5 months.
Okay, good. How about debt? Any debt from school or anything that's floating around out there?
I have student loans, and I have about 6,000 left.
Oh,
Not that much. I'm kind of waiting to see if Uncle Joe comes through. But if not, it's fine.
But
I'll just pay it off.
it's totally doable. I mean, are you on the pause right now at 0%?
Yeah, I am, and I haven't been paying because I pay a lot of attention to politics, and maybe I'll get lucky.
And also, like you said, it's 6,000, so you could knock that off once.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What about your wife? Any debt there?
No, we paid for school all out of pocket when she was going. So
okay. Where do you live? You have a house? You have an apartment? You renting? What are you doing?
Yeah, so we bought a house 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually got kind of lucky because it's a new house. When we went into contract with the builder, they priced it with the 2019 price. And by the time they finished building it, the equity went way up.
This is great. I love that.
Yeah. So we bought it for like 400. Our neighbor just sold his.
Mm-hmm.
He sold theirs for 550. So,
wow.
So we have like 100 plus thousand in equity.
That's great. That's great. Good for you. Okay, so that's a lucky happenstance. And the mortgage that's outstanding, what's the mortgage on it?
About $375.
Okay, and it's fixed rate?
Yeah.
Okay. Generally speaking, your basic outline of what you guys need to do is get through the daycare stuff. You've got the emergency reserve. You can pay off the debt. Even if Uncle Joe doesn't come through, I don't want you to honestly, what is 6%, 5%? What's the note on that debt?
It's multiple loans and they all have different rates. I think the highest one is 4.5.
Mark, can I just tell him to pay this off and not hope for the Uncle Joe to come through? I wouldn't pay 4.5% for that. But anyway, if it happens, it happens. Okay. But you got to pay that thing off. So when you pay that off, right? You can just pay that off from the cash and then replenish your cash to get to your 25 or 30 grand. Mm-hmm. And then when daycare's done, then you are going to put that contribution level up to as much as you can swallow. And when I mean as much, it's probably, given that that's $14,000 of daycare, right? The expenses, I think that you could go from 6% contribution. You'll probably be able to go basically to 20%. You'll be able to put in the $20,500 into the plan.
Okay. Yeah, just top it off.
And inside of the plan, you're in the target date fund. Do you have any index funds available to you in that plan?
Honestly, I don't know.
All right. Do me a favor. Send us a screenshot of the choices you have for your retirement plan.
Okay?
We'll help you out. We could just pick a few index funds for you. And then that's it. That's all you're going to do. I think she should pick the 401k. Mark, are you okay with the 401k for his wife? I'm leaning 401k right now. That's what I think you should do.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. More
and then just some flexibility. It's fine. Okay, now that's it for people from Florida for today. We're going to move on to other folks, I promise. If you've got a financial question, just go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, click on the Contact Us button, and of course, let us know if there's something interesting that you would like to discuss, and it doesn't just have to be your question. Maybe it's a big economic matter. Give it some thought. It's Jill on Money. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we finish this hour, don't forget, we've got a whole nother hour. And if you're listening to us and maybe your station of choice only broadcasts 1 hour of the program, I would call and complain to them. All right, maybe not. If you really want to check it out, we have all of our stuff. It's on YouTube, and we have a link to that. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com. And while you're there, you'll see a section that says radio, and we have a link. And you can check out all the old programs and maybe listen to an hour of this one if you missed it. How about that? Okay, so let's do an email as we finish up this hour. Susan writes that she and her husband bought $175,000 each of whole life insurance when they were 35. They're now 58, and she says, we're thinking about cashing it in. Each policy should net us about $100,000, and we think that a better use of the money would be for us to simply invest it. Premiums are about $150 a month each, and we don't think we need the $175,000 death benefit as we have a good amount in retirement and cash on hand to pay for our kids' college expenses. Our kids are 18-year-old twins that start college next year. What do you think? Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, the first thing to ask yourself, if you have an old insurance policy, do we need it? Is someone relying on us financially? And is this the best way to take care of those people? Now, in your case, as you say, you've got kids who are 18, but if you've already put away the money for college and you've already put away enough money for your retirements for each of you, that maybe it's a time where you say to yourself, yes, indeed, I could do something different with this money. We'd have this money available. Maybe you want to use some of that for college. So again, if you don't need the insurance coverage, I would definitely consider this. Just remember that sometimes when you have insurance and you cash it out, that there could be a tax liability. It's not a reason not to do it, but before you cash out, you should definitely find out if there's any tax due. Okay, it's Jill on Money, a whole nother hour around the corner. We will be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of Jill on Money, and we are here trying to take the mystery out of your financial life, one listener at a time. I know that a lot of times when we are answering these questions, some of them are similar situations to yours, but there's always a moment where something unique about the person on the line, something comes up that is really about their situation. It's the same thing with you. You may listen to this and say like, oh yeah, like those guys from Florida, those people who we just heard, that's like me. But your situation is different because it's yours. And I know not everyone has the exact same circumstances. If you want another set of ears and eyes on your situation, then Mark and I would love to help you out. Remember, we're both certified financial planners, and we have a certain way of looking at the universe that's more big picture. So if you want to float your big picture by us and you'd like an opinion, we really would be so happy and frankly honored to help you out. Right now, we are going to talk to Skip in Connecticut, and we're talking about retirement.
So here's the situation. And first of all, let me stop by saying, listen, we are big time listeners of your show and enjoy just hearing other people's scenarios in terms of what their investments and what their financial pictures are like. And everybody's situation is a little bit different, but I got to tell you, you've helped us a lot over the years, and I just wanted to say that first.
Thank you.
That said, our situation is a little bit complicated, so I'm going to try to summarize it. But I'm turning 62 in February, and I'm looking at retirement. My wife is 51. She is looking to continue her career until at least 55. And we've accumulated assets over the years, and generally we feel pretty good about where we're at. But we're not financial planners. We think we're doing a good job. And I just wanted your perspective on, based on what I'm about to share, whether or not I feel that I'm positioned to retire at 62, and my wife is going to continue. One of the reasons that I'm reaching out is we did a little bit of a analysis, which outlined what we spend or what I spend on an annual basis. So I have a pretty good handle on that. But one of the things that I was concerned about is I ballparked the fact that I spend about $50,000 a year. And when I went back and actually crunched the numbers and literally accounted for what I spend for gas, what I spend for going to big box stores, it was more like $100,000.
Isn't that amazing? I just want to stop you right there. I know exactly what you mean. So there is a part of this planning process that is eerily familiar to anyone who has ever thought about diet. And that you sort of say, like, I know I'm doing fine. I eat this many meals. But then, you do one of these crazy diets. One of the things that they encourage you to do, say at a place like Weight Watchers, is like write down everything you eat. And then once you do that, you're like, whoa, oh my goodness. I think it's the same thing with spending money. I mean, I know that there's a part of it that makes you feel a little compulsive. Like when I say to people, how much do you need to live on? And people are like, well, I don't really know. And I said, well, you should account for it. And then you sound like a miserly, weird person because you're trying to account for every penny. So I am not the kind of person who thinks that you should drill down and stay on top of this every single day. But as you just learned, it is easy to bury certain expenses. And unless you really account for them, you don't get a good picture of what your need is. So I am not trying to create like compulsive penny by penny counters in all of you. I'm just trying to get a sense of what we need so we can figure out what you need to do next, right? So if it's not 50 grand a year and it is 100 grand a year, there's no judgment there. It's just like, we want to know what the number is. So where did you find of that extra 50 grand? What did you miss in the analysis?
It really, I don't know if it was a miss so much as I come from humble beginnings in terms of my background, and $50,000 to me is a lot of money. And so I ballparked it in my head.
Oh, interesting.
But then when I really peeled away the onion and I looked at everything that was coming out of our bank account, and I'm old fashioned, so I take a certain amount of money out of the bank a week. And if I run out of that money, I don't take out more. So I know the drawdown rate or the burn rate of which I'm spending on a monthly basis. And when I took a step back and I completely tallied that up over a year's worth of withdrawals, it showed a very different picture than what I thought.
All right. Well, I'm glad we know the picture, right? Like, so that's good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Skip. How much do you earn right now?
About $180,000 a year.
Okay. And how about your wife? How much does she earn?
$190,000 a year, and she gets roughly about a $70,000 a year bonus.
So it's really like she's making at least $250, basically, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're both contributing to retirement plans?
Yes, we max out.
Tell me about the money that you guys have saved. So what's in your retirement plan right now?
So it's in my retirement plan is with respect to our IRAs, it's about a little over $1 million. We have liquid cash in the amount of $950,000. And then I have a pension that's the present value is roughly $800,000.
What's the monthly that you could draw on?
100% JNS, I'm estimating about $35,000 a year.
Is your wife going to be entitled to a pension as well?
Yes, she'll be entitled to a cash balance plan pension.
Okay. How much is the cash balance?
My cash balance is $100.
Yours is $800. What's hers?
No, the pension is $800,000. I also have a cash balance on top of that of $128,000.
Oh my. Okay. And what about hers?
She has a cash balance plan of $135,000, and her IRAs is $1.4 million.
You said IRAs. Are you lumping that together of like 401k or 403b or anything like that, or do you actually have IRAs?
We actually have IRAs.
Okay. That's a lot of money, pardon me, that you have saved. Tell me more about anything else in terms of the investing, savings analysis. Have we accounted for everything?
In terms of investments, we have another about $312,000 that are in, I wouldn't call this investments, but I have a fixed annuity and an indexed annuity, which we're using as part of to fund my child's college education. So we're self-funding it. The reason we came into that money is bonuses and things that I got over the years. And I said, I don't want to worry about his college fund. I want to set it aside. So we using those vehicles for that.
How old's the kid?
He's 5.
Wow, dude, you started late.
Really late.
My God. But you got it going. Only one child?
Only one child.
We'll get back to Skip in just a second. If you've got a retirement question, a tax question, an education funding question, a real estate question, are you buying, are you selling, are you renting, are you thinking about anything remotely financial? Mark and I are here for you. That's what we do. We serve the Jill on Money community, whether it is on this show, on our podcast, Jill on Money, on the other podcast, I on Money, and whether or not I'm on TV. It's just, I'm here for you. So let us know. JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. We'll get your note. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to answer your financial questions. Mark and I are so happy when we are in this place, when we're just hearing from you and answering your questions. This really is our happy place. We are broadcasting from the Capital One Bank virtual studios. Capital One, this is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Mark swears we're never going back into a physical studio. I doubt it, actually. This system works great, and it's so flexible. It's so wonderful. So if you would like to come join us on the air, ask your question, it's so much better. It's a really much more interesting experience for, I think, both you and for us and the listening audience as well. So if that's the case, just go to JillOnMoney.com. That is our website, which you should be bookmarking, of course. And let us know if you're willing to come on the show. Mark does the rest. It's all very easy. I mean, it's easy for me because he does all the work as usual. Mark also compiles the weekly newsletter, and it is free. And that weekly newsletter is fantastic. Lots of different kinds of voices on that newsletter. So if you would like to subscribe to that, you can do it right on the website, JillOnMoney.com. See, that's where everything lives. All the content lives there. Okay, let's get back to Skip in Connecticut. Who's your insurance agent who sold you those annuities? How did you get involved with this?
I have an advisor
Do you?
that I work with, yes.
Do you really have an advisor? Do you have a salesperson?
I have both. I have an agent plus an advisor.
Is it the same person or two separate people?
Two separate individuals.
So who sold you these annuities? The advisor or the agent?
The advisor.
Is this somebody who's a certified financial planner?
Correct.
And the premise that he used for annuity for college was what? Like, just throw it in here, the money will be here for college versus instead of using the Connecticut Higher Education Trust?
No, protection of principal in terms of downward market, also to get a little bit of the upside when the market goes up. Obviously, not as much as you would get if I was in the market.
When did you put this money in the annuity?
2020 and 2021.
Skip, did you ever watch those claymation Christmas time specials where it was like, I'm the heat miser?
Yeah.
Right now, I am the heat miser. My hair is straight up. My body is red hot and tingly, and I'm really trying to hold it in. Okay. And I do not want to throw your advisor under the bus because I'm scared that he's like your cousin or something. So who is this person to you? Any real relationship?
No, he's an advisor that I've been working with for probably 6 or 7 years now.
What else does this guy do for you? Does he do the IRAs?
Yes. Yeah.
How much do you pay him?
$12,000 a year.
Tell me more information. So we have established that you have a boatload of money, $1 million IRA, cash of $950,000. Your pension right now is worth $800,000 or $35,000 a year, joint and life survivor. You have a cash balance of another pension cash balance of $128,000. Your wife has a cash balance of $135,000. Your wife's IRA is about $1.4 million. You got $312,000 in the fixed and index annuities. And what else? Is there anything else I need to know?
My wife has a non-qual of $15,000.
Okay.
And an HSA of $97,000.
Ooh, that'll be good when her old man husband needs it.
Well, I have one too for $32,000.
That's great. That's a very good thing to have for the future for you. When you retire, what happens for health insurance? Do you guys get it from her work, or do you have an ongoing health insurance ability through your employer?
I get it through her work.
What happens in 5 years is that she retires, you're on Medicare. Then what does she do for health insurance in 5 years?
She's actually pumping up her non-qual. So that if she decides to leave at 55, which she probably won't, but if she does, and sometimes, that's not our choice, we'll have sufficient funds to cover healthcare.
Okay, fair enough. And so her non-qualified, you said, is $15,000 right now?
Correct.
And that's in addition to your non-qualified cash of $950,000, right?
That's right.
Okay. How about your house? What's it worth?
$400K.
Mortgage?
None.
Wow. Any debt? Any other debt?
No debt.
We know that you need to spend $100,000 a year. That's your real number. At age 67, what's your Social Security?
$3,227.
You're not going to spend $300,000 on college. Is that just did you overfund that because you figured, college, grad school, and we're done?
No, we weren't specifically. There's a question mark whether or not he's even going to attend college. So we just wanted to, since we had the money, we wanted to set it aside. So
that's different. Why is that? Is he special needs of some sort?
No, I just don't have a lot of confidence in whether or not, we don't know whether or not he's going to go on to a higher ed or do something different. But I wanted to make sure that I have something set aside for purposes of being able to help him out to the extent that he actually needed it. And then we'll have access to those dollars later.
I see. Okay.
Is that why the advisor suggested the annuity? Did you have that conversation with the advisor? And he said, well,
I'm just trying to say that is
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, okay. Yes. So now we're letting your advisor off the hook a tiny bit for that because it sounds to me like you sort of wanted something in between. I want to save for college, but if he doesn't go to college, I don't know. Maybe I want something else.
That's exactly right. Right.
Okay.
Exactly right.
It's still a crappy advice. It was still an absolute crappy piece of advice. And I'm going to explain why. Let me go big picture with you. Okay. I got your picture, right? You ready?
Yeah.
You're in great shape, completely great shape. You could create your own little pension plan with all the money that you have accumulated. Okay.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like you do like a little bit of consistency. So let's just pretend.
Correct.
Your pension benefit at $35,000 a year, does that start at 62?
No, I won't start my pension benefit until 65.
Okay. So let's just say that let's just play it out let's just pretend you did it at 67 for the heck of it. Okay. At 67, you've got your pension and your Social Security, which is about $73,000 pre-tax, of course. I'm not even going to include your wife's Social Security right now. Okay, just putting that aside. At 67, so we're going to have 5 years that we have to finance. I get it, but your wife's working. You can just essentially live off of her income for the next 5 years, right? At age 67, you've got $73,400 coming in, pension and your Social Security. You have so much money that you can generate, let's just say, really back of the envelope here, 1, 2, 3, it's almost like $4 million that you have. There's no problem. You can generate all of the money you need to float your retirement for a long time. You're not running out of money, the kid's going to get money. I am pretending that all the annuity money is spent on him. Okay. So, what you're looking at here is a situation where you have plenty of money to generate what you need. So even if I said you have your $1 million, right, in the IRA, she's got 1.4. Let's say out of your cash, I'm going to pretend that we're only going to have access to 600 of that cash. I don't know why. I'm just going to do it for the heck of it. And then 1, 2, like another 250. So I have like somewhere around $3.5 million without, like, in the most conservative estimate. That is plenty of money. You could be like a super boring investor. I could take a withdrawal rate on $3.5 million. Okay. And I could say, look, the guy hates risk. His wife hates risk, whatever. Let's just do a 2% withdrawal rate. Let's just take 2% of that out every year. That's 70 grand on top of the 73 you're already getting. So you could essentially say, I'll get 140 gross. I'll pay my taxes. I got my 100 grand a year. Done. You have no problems. Zero. You are in fantastic shape. You guys have killed it. You've saved a lot of money. You were very smart to marry someone who would float you for your early retirement. So that was good. Super smart of you. You can retire now. There's no problem. If you have a financial question, you are just a moment away, a few clicks away from joining us. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. We'll get your note. Let us know if you want to come on the air. Mark does everything else. All you need is a computer. It's very easy, and I bet everyone has one. Okay? We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, taking the mystery out of your financial life, one listener at a time. Right now, we're talking to Jason from California. So, Jason, what's up and how can we help you out today?
Yeah, so this is probably a little unusual, and I know hopefully this doesn't seem as ungrateful or anything, but so a few years ago, my wife's dad passed away, and which was terrible. But he was a very good investor, and over the years blessed us with quite an inheritance. He left us mostly inherited IRAs, so a lot of that money is tied up in retirement accounts, and I should say we're both in our early 40s, and also a home that he purchased in the mid 70s. So the home at the time that we inherited, it was about valued at $1.2 million, and it was paid off, and currently it's valued at about $2 million. I want to see if there's anything we could do with that. Like, there's all this equity tied up in this house, and I'd love to retire early and spend time with the kids and all that. I just don't know how to do that in a safe way, or if I'm even just kind of wasting my time spinning my wheels thinking about it. We wouldn't want to do anything to sort of risk the house, but I have friends who are saying, you should take some equity out and invest it in, real estate syndications or,
all right, calm down with that.
Or something.
Let's just calm down on that part.
Okay.
So tell me, first of all, about this house. This house is sitting empty. Are you living in it, or what's happening?
We live in it. It was the house my wife grew up in, and the house that we're living in, and we're using it and we're loving it. It's a wonderful house that we could never afford on our own salaries in Southern California. So we are fully using it as a utility.
And there's no mortgage.
No mortgage, correct.
Okay. Now, all right. You don't owe anything to anyone else. Are there any siblings who are owed a piece of this or not?
No, they were some other inherited IRAs, so they got bought out. Okay. So it's fully under our name.
Got it. Okay. Now, Jason, tell us a little bit more about yourselves. You said you're in your mid-40s. Are you guys both working? Do you have kids? What's happening?
2 kids, 5 and 7. I am working. Since the pandemic, my wife has been staying at home with the kids, and now taking them to school, but probably going to get back into working here probably in the next six months to a year. I work full time. I make a great wage. About $200,000 a year, and no other debts. Everything's been paid off in the last few years. We had some student loans and car payments and all that stuff, but we paid it all off.
So tell me about, do you contribute to a retirement plan?
So I'm an independent contractor, so I max out my Roth. We do the 6,000 each. And then the rest I have just kind of sitting in savings, and I have some, brokerage accounts, which I should not be in charge of. I tried to invest this last year, and it was disastrous. Lots of high growth tech stuff that's way down now. So
then, by all means, let's leverage your house and then put that at risk too. How much is in the Roth right now? The Roth IRA.
The Roth, I've got about $250 in there.
Okay. How much is in the brokerage account?
It's kind of complicated because this money's being managed by the people that managed it when it was my father-in-law's. Let's see. So it's $360K in individual accounts, about $500,000 in inherited IRA. Mm-hmm. And then there's about $1.5 million in alternative investments through this wealth manager, where it's a variety of, to be totally honest, we use them because it was a trusted wealth advisor for my father-in-law. So there's like some interest investments and some alternative investments, real estate things.
It's just like a bunch of stuff that you can't get out of because it's all like locked into this box which says alternative investments, which essentially means it's not going to be correlated with the stock market. And maybe it was fine for your father-in-law. Look, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but it's fine. There's $1.5 million in alternative investments, $360 in brokerage, inherited IRA $500, Roth IRA $250. What about your wife from her former employment universe? What does she have?
Nominal, I think it's about $20,000 in a
IRA
or something. Yeah.
Okay. So right now on your $200,000 a year that you guys you're living on, it's okay. Life is okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're blessed. We're not out spending our means, driving used cars and such.
I feel like you could be doing a much better job of putting some money away for retirement. So now that you don't have a high cost home that you're supporting, I mean, obviously you have taxes, et cetera, but you've got a lot of money. Do you feel like there's a way for you to put more money away, or like just forget about all this other money? This $200,000 a year, is this just supporting you because after you pay your bills and your taxes and your wife's no longer working and you got the kids, do you feel like there's anything extra from that $200,000 a year?
Yeah, we're able to save about $2,000 a month on top of everything. So but it's I also suffer from paralysis of trying to figure out what to do with it. I mean, I know I should be putting some of this in like the 529 and putting it on autopilot, but I just, I guess probably a series of bad investments over the last couple of years has kind of made me scared to
you don't trust yourself.
Triggers.
That's okay.
I don't.
That's okay. Analysis paralysis, a very good thing that can actually help you, prevent you, but also can be, as you say, paralyzing. Do the kids have 529 accounts yet or not?
Yeah, they each have about 10,000 in there that we've sort of put lump sums in at different times, but. I should probably set that on autopilot.
Totally. That'll be very good for you. Do you guys have some cash besides the brokerage account? Is there like an emergency reserve, or is that folded into the brokerage account?
I do have about 50,000 just sitting on the sidelines in cash as an emergency fund.
Great. And besides the general outlook that you have about your lives, tell me like what you think you are going to be shooting for. Like you're working, she goes back to work, you're in your 40s. Are you thinking that there's I really want to retire early, or I want to do something different? Like what's the bigger game plan?
Yeah, I think, I'm 42 right now. So I think, a 10-year plan, I mean, it would be great if I could be retired in 10 years. And
what are you going to do? What do you mean 52? Come on, stop it. That's silly.
Yeah, well, spend more time with the family. I work long hours and I'm out of town frequently, so probably not fully retired, but able to have a little bit more flexibility and not necessarily be on someone else's schedule.
We'll get back to Jason after the break. It's JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here answering Jason's question about his large inheritance. So let's get right back to Jason. Do you guys have life insurance, estate plannings documents? Like what do you got that's out there?
We have a trust that was set up, and have about $1 million in life insurance on myself, and about $500,000 on my wife.
If you were to think about, like, let's just say 10 years from now, but let's use today's dollars. What do you think would be like what you really want? You want 10 grand a month? Would that do the job? I mean, you don't have a mortgage, so it's pretty easy. So like, what are we trying to get to? Give me my bogey, where I'm trying to get to for you guys. What do we need to produce an income?
I think if I were able to, all things being equal, if I had today's salary, if I was still making 200 grand, I think that would be very comfortable. And also that would probably adjust for some lifestyle and college expenses for the kids and everything.
Let me just say this about that. That ain't happening based on where you are today.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put it out there. It doesn't mean you're not going to be able to do it, but where you are this second. What year did your father-in-law die?
2015.
So the inherited IRA is you are able to do it based on his life expectancy. You don't need to take it out early, right?
Correct. Yeah. There are some minimum distributions per year, but
that's fine. It's based on his. Yeah. It's not the 10-year rule that was recently enacted.
Correct.
So what you have is you have $770,000 in retirement assets. You have a brokerage account with $360 and this $1.5 million in alternative investments. Mark, would you like to weigh in on this? Because I want you to just hear Jason. Mark is also your age. So now, Mark, would you like to weigh in on what you think Jason's path is to creating 200 grand a year in income, which is not unlike what you probably want for yourselves, right? Yeah, Mark wants you to try to clean up this, a lot of this in the way that the money is invested, which again probably was perfect for your father-in-law. But how would you feel if we said, gosh, we'd love to get another set of eyes on this and have your own relationship with somebody who was perhaps really looking at your lives and doing financial planning, but also making the money work to get there? I think you have to save more money. So I'm not just, the $2,000 a month has got to go, like, just put that into the 529s for now. Let's just do like 1 and 1, very easy. So just do that. Okay. That's a piece of cake. You're probably not saving enough for retirement, but I almost kind of don't care about that right this second, because I feel like Mark is right. I would love another set of eyes on someone who can create a financial plan for you guys, even if you just paid someone one time to do that and then that made you a lot smarter dealing with this other firm. But do you feel locked into this firm or not?
It's, it is kind of feel like that. It's, my father-in-law, he was a very, old school guy, handshake, word is bond. And these were the guys that he trusted. So it's, in some of the funds, like some of the people that handle the equities, they've returned 20-25% over the last couple of years.
Big deal. So did the market. The
alternatives have been, single digits. And I feel like that's kind of a pretty big lost opportunity there. So, yeah, I think getting a second set of eyes would be
I think that's going to be better for you guys. I really do. So we're going to send you the name of someone who can help do some planning work for you. Okay. Again, even if it's just a flat fee to pay someone, I actually know somebody. I know someone in Northern California who I might be able to hook you up with also. So I'll talk to a couple of people. We'll get you some names.
Okay, great.
And just to have somebody do a plan for you, which would really help guide you, and also almost have a conversation that's more where you feel more confident. You don't feel confident because you've been, had your ass kicked in the markets, right?
Yeah.
But we want you to feel confident in at least the game plan, which would be hey, you know what? These alternative investments kind of not working for me. How can we rotate this out and put this into a different different investment? Or, maybe someone's going to look at this and say hey, you know what? Don't put money in a Roth IRA. What you really should be doing is just putting money. You should create your own retirement plan for you, Jason, and we should just put in a uni 401k, which is just a solo plan for one person, and you'll be able to put $20,500 into that. And maybe that's just something we can do like at Fidelity or at Vanguard, like a really simple place. And so that you feel like you've got some agency in this. I feel like it's interesting because you got a ton of money, which is awesome. But the idea of finishing in 10 years, I think, is going to be a tough one unless we get some of the money out of alternative investments and we have a real game plan to at least get you in a place where you're like, I don't want to be on the road X number of days a year. And maybe it's going to be that your wife is working and you can put some more money away. I really think we need a plan. I really do. And I think that while I completely respect everything that you say about your father-in-law and his handshakes and everything, some companies are not specialized to provide the kind of service to the next generation as others. And I just would like to point out that, these folks who may have served your father-in-law really well may not serve you as well. And I just put it out there. That's it.
I agree. Yes.
If you would like to join us, all you need to do is go onto the website, JillOnMoney.com, which I know by now is bookmarked. You're back. It's Jill on Money. Before we finish up the program, let's answer a question from Mary, who said, my daughter is involved with equestrian sports. She's in college and she's on my insurance. I'm 60 and I work full time. Should I consider additional insurance? And what kind, in case she suffers an injury with an extended recovery? Well, first I'd check in to see what your current coverage provides in terms of any sort of injuries or long-term situations. But I wonder if there's some sort of, I hate to make a joke of this, it's what the term is, rider, R-I-D-E-R, I swear, where you might be able to purchase some additional coverage. I would talk to whoever is helping you with your insurance, your health insurance needs. And maybe you could get something extra there. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. And if it means that you need to get some extra coverage for her through another vehicle, might be expensive. I don't know if it's really worth it. Maybe the real answer is you should be beefing up your cash reserves just in case. It's an expensive sport. And I know you don't want to have anything bad happen to her. So a little bit of investigation there is necessary. Okay, well, I think that is it. That is the program, and we have been so happy that you took the time to join us today. Don't forget, all of our content lives on our website. It's JillOnMoney.com. Check out our 2 podcasts, Jill on Money and Eye on Money, and you can also sign up for the free weekly newsletter. So easy, and it's free. Gosh, I love that. All right, our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer. Here at the program, we do like to ask that you try to do something nice for someone else every single day, today specifically. And the reason is that when you do that, it will make that person feel better, and I know it will make you feel better. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to chatting with you next week.